Okay, next we have David Jones from the North Carolina Forest Service, where he's the GIS coordinator and the branch head of their geospatial division. He's going to talk about the power of ArcGIS online for disaster response to Hurricane Matthew. Thanks, Greg.
All right, as Greg mentioned, be talking about ArcGIS Online and some of its use that we recently used with Hurricane Matthew. We're an emergency response agency. We work closely with emergency management. So a short time ago, in a place not so very far away, North Carolinians had to survive the aftermath of Hurricane Matthew. Not so much in terms of hurricane winds and storm surge that we can get with hurricanes in the Carolinas, but more so in the form of an extensive amount of rainfall. And that rainfall led to record-setting floods for, well, not necessarily record-setting, but historic floods that were on par with 100-year, both in the all the coastal plain river basins, particularly on the southern end. Tar Pamlico, the Neuse, Cape Fear, White Oak, and Lumber basins were all at 100-year flood stage or higher. The devastation and the impacts from those floods were widespread and severe. Some storms sat straight off of Public Safety's website. There were 28 storm-related fatalities. There are over 2,300 swiftwater rescues. Over 4,000 citizens in the area were impacted and not able to stay in their own homes and seeking shelter. And to date, almost $100 million have been dispensed to help with the recovery from the flooding events. So if we would take a brief moment of silence to give our respects to the lives that were lost and impacted by this historic natural disaster. So I'm going to talk to you about an emergency response effort located in Lumberton, Robeson County, North Carolina. The emergency efforts there were almost exclusively related to flooding. Too many animations. All right. The larger map that you see here, the raster cells depict, obviously bluer is more water, less blue is less water. The cells and their labels represent the percentage of average annual rainfall that was accumulating in the basin, contributing to Lumberton in a very short period of time. Obviously, we got a lot of rain in October when the hurricane came, but one of the components to the issue was that we had a significant amount of rainfall in September leading up to Hurricane Matthew. If you look at September 29th through October 9th, just an 11-day period, the Lumber River Basin above Lumberton received 25% of its average annual rainfall. So it got a quarter of the amount of rain it normally gets in a year in 11 days. That's a lot of rain. So if we look at that in terms of kind of a before and after on some orthophotography, this is from before the incident. This would be January 2013. The southern area of Lumberton, just south of the Lumber River. You can see I-95 there. A few recognizable features there on the landscape. This is before, and that's after. That's October 11th, 2016. So before and after, one more time. Pretty dramatic. So in emergency response, despite our best efforts to be prepared and always be on our toes and ready for things of this nature, inevitably, oftentimes, it feels like the cards are stacked against us and we're going into a situation that we've got to scramble and figure something out. So what does a lowly GIS specialist in an incident command situation do to help emergency responders in an event of this nature? Well, if you were a free and open source software guru, maybe some of these tools and platforms would be an option for you. But alas, that is not in my toolkit right now. So I have to go somewhere else. So who am I going to call? What am I going to use? No, that's not going to help. Also, not going to help. So who can come to the rescue? Well, believe it or not, ESRI has a disaster response program, and they have a framework that I'm sure you are all, many of you are aware of, the ArcGIS Online platform. So if you work in emergency response or know colleagues that do, and they're not using AGOL, it's probably time for them to start drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm not a big fan of drinking Kool-Aid, but I've got to tip my hat when ESRI's done something phenomenal. So they have a disaster response program. You can go to this website, you can fill out this form, and you can get a lot of help: software, technical support, personnel, data, and more. It doesn't matter if you're already a client, if you're already using ESRI software. If you don't have a customer ID, put zeros, put ones, put whatever. Someone will get that email and they will respond in a disaster. If you lose your data on your local disk or your server, that's not a disaster, right? We're talking hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires, etc. So a little known fact that I don't think really got communicated that well years ago was that if you pay maintenance for ArcGIS Desktop, you are entitled to an ArcGIS Online account. So if you're doing that, you're paying maintenance on your desktop software and you're not using an AGOL organization, contact your rep, get an email. They will send you a link to establish your org account. It is part of what you're paying for. They made it part of the bundle deal a while back. That was the case in Robeson County. They were paying maintenance, but they didn't have their org set up. They didn't even know they were eligible to get an org. So in a very short period of time, 2 operational periods without a lot of sleep, a single GIS specialist was able to spin up an org from scratch, load a significant amount of base data, instant feature services, web maps, web apps, user accounts, and provide the county with some training. So one of the things that you get with the ArcGIS Online platform are a lot of tools and resources available to you. Many of those come in the form of app templates. One of those app templates is a Geo Forum. We spun up a Geo Forum so that citizens could go online once power was restored. They were constantly monitoring the county website. This was linked there. They could go online and report damage themselves. That helped the county and emergency responders stay in tune with where there were things that were still being impacted, roads being blown out, water mains that are busted, so forth, so power lines that are down. So we're getting the citizens to do participatory GIS to give us an idea of where issues are still ongoing. With AGOL, you also, in an org account, you also get apps. You've got Collector for ArcGIS, Survey 123 for ArcGIS. Both of these work in a disconnected editing as well as a connected editing environment. If you're using Collector and you're in a connected environment, everyone in this room, just as we saw Cam using the map is the first part to implementing a Collector interface. Everyone could be hitting points and we could all be seeing them live on the map provided that we had network connectivity. If we needed to go offline, we could download, we can collect until our heart's content, come back in connectivity with Wi-Fi or cell signal and push the data up. Survey 123 works similar in terms of offline and online data editing and input, but it's better, its workflows are better for data entry and survey-based questions, and you can customize your question logic a little bit easier, and there's a really elegant online data summary tool that's also available. So we used all of those tools in Robeson County. Another great app template is called the Operations Dashboard. This was day 1 of damage assessment on the 24th. Obviously there's not a lot of data in there, but this was literally day 1. Ops dashboards can summarize all of that data that you're harvesting or collecting from Survey 123, Geo Forums, or Collector, and synthesize it and display it in a dashboard format. This is just a run-of-the-mill web application template that we spun up for the county so that they could see all of that incoming data from Collector, Survey 123, and citizen reports. We didn't use Web App Builder, but you heard earlier that's another great tool for delivering that. So in short, AGOL is an incredibly powerful framework for emergency response. That's it.